Mom, thought I heard a car. He's not coming.
Dad. These are for you.
Mom, what's he doing?
Oh, good evening, Mrs. Larson. I can certainly see where Melissa gets her good looks. Come on, honey. Go on, honey. Yes.
Take a moment and make a memory from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Turn to 10 for the 1996 air show.
This week, Siskel and Ebert review, Dennis Quaid is a roving warrior with a scaly sidekick in DragonHeart. Superfan Whoopi Goldberg becomes coach of the New York Knicks in Eddie. And Tom Cruise brings a hit TV show to the big screen in Mission Impossible.
Whoopi Goldberg plays a basketball fan who has her dream come true when she gets a chance to coach the New York Knicks in the NBA comedy Eddie. It's one of 5 new movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert, along with an adventure fantasy starring Dennis Quaid and Sean Connery's voice. Also, Charlie Sheen tracks alien creatures, and we'll give you our take on Tom Cruise's current #1 box office hit. I believe that's called Mission Impossible. I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. Our first movie is Eddie, which is also the name of Whoopi Goldberg's character in the movie, who in this scene is the New York Knicks' biggest fan. She's named honorary coach for the day at a game at Madison Square Garden, but offends the team's real coach, played by Dennis Farina. After he walks out in protest, the team's new owner, a blustering Texas millionaire named Wild Bill, played by Frank Langella, gives her the coaching job for real, announcing his decision from center court.
This is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. And it didn't even happen to me.
There's nothing in the rule book. You want to file a protest, be my guest.
You're damn right I will.
They're all yours, Coach.
Goldberg isn't a very good coach to begin with, but she doesn't have a very good team either. Here you can see some of the real-life NBA stars who are fictional players in the movie. The Indiana Pacers' Dwayne Shinsis, Greg Ostertag of the Utah Jazz, and Malik Sealy of the LA Clippers.
Hey, Patton, pass the ball. What are you, the black hole of basketball? Come on!
You gonna let her call you a black hole?
Man, a hole, not a hole, a black hole. What's a black hole?
A black hole is a theoretical object in space. It is so dense that matter collapses, and light itself cannot escape.
The best dramatic effort in the movie is by John Salley of the Chicago Bulls, who tells the new coach what she's going to have to do to start to reach her players.
I know these kids make a lot of money, okay? And I know they're not supposed to be human, but they are. They have problems just like everybody else. Just because they can put the ball in the hoop, no one cares.
One of the lessons Goldberg learns is that to get the respect of the players, a coach sometimes has to make a tough call.
What you trying to say to Stacey Patton?
I'm not trying to say it. I'm telling Stacey Patton to get his black ass off my court. You are out of the game.
About damn time.
Eddie is a movie that somehow manages to miss about 95% of the drama and excitement of the real NBA, replacing it with exhausted old sports movies cliches. So far, only one movie has really suggested the level of competition and intensity in high-stakes basketball, and that's William Friedkin's Blue Chips from 1994. A movie like Eddie just sort of seems to miss the whole point.
Oh, well, first of all, it isn't trying to be a documentary, nor was Blue Chips. It's a comedy, and I thought it was a lot of fun, but I thought Blue Chips was a pretty lame picture, and also Celtic Pride. This is the first picture, and I'm giving it a mildly positive review. I thought it was very entertaining. I thought it did capture the fun of a situation like that in this sense. that she has to learn to throw out all the hangers-on, the agents. There's a great scene in the dressing room. Total
Did
fiction.
you really believe, Gene, now I know you've spent a lot of
Not
time
a documentary.
around professional basketball players, that any basketball player in that movie at any time spoke and acted the way a real basketball player might speak and act?
I think that you said it yourself. I think that the John Sally character, he has 3 good scenes there.
Yeah.
And he's got the talent. He's a natural actor, and he does it very well. And he's sensible to her.
But
it's a comedy, Roger.
I know it's a comedy, but wouldn't it have been a funnier comedy if it had been more realistic about how they might really have behaved? They play like a bunch of milquetoast. They're happy to see her, and they kind of take her advice.
It's one of the jokes. They're long-term contracts. That's one of the. But it's not
a missed a chance at a much better movie.
Here's a problem I did have. The film is rated PG-13 because of one obscene language exchange, and it came out of the blue. Now here's a picture that I think a lot of kids would enjoy seeing. It is a genial comedy. Why do they have to stick in the F word to get the PG-13?
They put the word in to get the PG-13 because they were afraid if they got a PG, everybody would think it was innocuous.
Okay, next movie, and it's DragonHeart, a medieval adventure film with a wild premise about a friendship between a knight, Dennis Quaid, and a genuine fire-breathing dragon in their efforts to combat an evil king. Here's where they first talk with each other. The dragon-hunting knight and the world's last surviving dragon, voiced by Sean Connery.
And when there are no more dragons to slay, how will you make a living, knight? Shut up!
Yes, the old shot in the groin joke. Eventually, however, the knight and the dragon become friends, and the issue now is what to name a dragon.
I know those stars very well.
Do you see the shape that they make?
The dragon?
Yes. They call it Draco. It means dragon in the scholar speech.
So instead of calling me dragon in your tongue, you'll call me dragon in some other tongue.
Eventually, they join forces to defeat an evil king named Einon, but there's a catch. The young king and the dragon share the same heart. It's a very long story. And to kill the king, Dennis Quaid must first kill his friend.
You will never win until Einon's evil is destroyed, and to do that, you must destroy me.
No. The action story in DragonHeart does not hold up well when compared with similar sword-fighting adventures such as Braveheart or Rob Roy. And Dennis Quaid's character isn't compelling at all. His voice sounds like it's been run through a bass amplifier. Only Sean Connery's marvelous voice manages, I think, to communicate the magical tone, the more childlike tone that this film is after. I appreciate the ambition of this fairy tale, but it just didn't work for me.
Well, it did work for me, Gene, and I think you're kind of misleading to compare it to Braveheart and Rob Roy because it's not that kind of movie. This is basically a family movie. Even, you might even say, a children's movie.
I said that.
And suitable for children. And as for the voices, Sean Connery's voice, which is marvelous, was also run through a bass amplifier. So I don't know why you're complaining about
it sounded
Dennis Quaid.
more. It sounded more like
it
sounded more like Sean Connery than Quaid sounded. I guess that I was getting dissonance as I was looking at Dennis Quaid. I've never heard him sound like that ever before.
Well, that's right. They're playing around with the sound. But here's something that's marvelous about this movie, and that is the creation of this dragon.
I like the dragon.
First of all, the lip sync is perfect. Every time Sean Connery talks, it looks like that dragon is really talking. Then the facial expressions, and then the whole body, and the art design of the body, the inside of the mouth, the teeth, and so forth.
Put that dragon in a better story, and I'd recommend the movie.
But I think it is a triumph of special effects, that dragon, and I thought the movie itself was perfectly acceptable as family entertainment.
Not the story at all. When we come back, Charlie Sheen detects signs of life from outer space in the sci-fi thriller The Arrival.
And signal returns. Definitely Skybase. Wolf 336, you are howling.
People routinely travel to places in search of comfort, peace, and quiet. We asked ourselves, why can't such a place be a car? The Maxima from Nissan.
Well, Doc, it all started about a year or so ago. I started hearing these voices everywhere I went.
10 cents a minute, one dime, and it's good forever.
Good idea.
Sometimes I hear this strange counting.
1 minute, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes.
Oh, I can't go anywhere without the voices. Doc, in all your years, does it remind you of anything? Doc? Doc?
Actually, Caddis, it reminds me that I want to call Sprint for that dime rate myself.
Boy.
Sprint Cents. Call now for 10 cents a minute.
It's a shame what drug use on the job did to this guy, how it affected his career, shook up his family, and left him jobless. Of course, the real tragedy is this guy's never taken a drug in his life. When businesses get hurt by drug abuse, everyone takes the hit. Call and find out about our drug-free workplace program.
So I try to be a watchdog of sorts.
Helping keep your family safe.
The hatch should not fly open.
Alerting you to the latest scams.
Telecommunications fraud is a booming business.
Making sure you get the most out of your money.
This house fits all of the guidelines for the Zero Down program. Now, what does that mean?
For answers to your consumer questions.
Why take a chance with anyone else?
Turn to consumer investigator Mary McGuire, only on NBC News Channel 10.
Spike.
Charlie Sheen is a radio astronomer there who picks up what looks like a clear-cut signal from an intelligent source in outer space in our next film, which is called The Arrival. He's been waiting for such a moment for years, and now at last, here's an indication that mankind may not be alone in the universe. Oddly enough, Sheen's boss is less than thrilled by the discovery. Played by Ron Silver, he's a NASA bureaucrat who responds to the discovery by firing the discoverer.
I know how important this is. But searching for ETs in this political environment is a tough sell on Capitol Hill.
After being fired, Sheen gets a job with a telecommunications company installing satellite dishes and continues his investigation on his own. He talks to his former partner at the government listening post.
Apparently, it was a burst from a spy satellite. What? Yeah, it's a defense thing, you know, which is probably why Gordian couldn't tell us about it.
Cal, listen to me very carefully. Satellites do not move like stars move. Now, we track this thing in sidereal time, in star time, okay? Now, I don't know who these guys are, but I do know that they're lying to you.
The trail of the mysterious radio messages leads to Mexico, where Sheen encounters another scientist, played by Lindsay Krause.
Terraforming.
What is that?
This guy at JPL, he's been giving talks about Mars and how its whole environment could be changed, and how we could terraform it and then live there. It'll never happen, of course. Cost hundreds of billions.
Investigating a vast energy plant in the Mexican wilderness, Sheen is astonished to find it's a lot more than it seems. The Arrival is one of those rare movies that takes its science fiction seriously and doesn't simply disintegrate into an action picture after having a clever setup. David Twohy, the writer and director, has a lot of ideas here, and they keep coming all the way to the end of the movie as he explores an intriguing and terrifying hypothesis about why the planet seems to be gradually warming up. Charlie Sheen does a good job as a technological nerd who does not develop into a muscle-bound superhero halfway through the picture, but allows the character's curiosity and intelligence and stubbornness to provide all the motivation he needs to follow those signals into the Mexican jungle. And the special effects used inside that mysterious energy plant are really very impressive. I was surprised how much I liked The Arrival.
I was too. You know, I have complained for years about science fiction pictures that are all the same gloom and doom and then the action third act. And this picture has a brain to it. It has ideas, and you're quite right. They keep unfolding. I was also impressed by the physical achievement of this picture. I was startled. I'm used to, again, at the end of the picture when there's action out by a satellite dish. Weren't you impressed by the physical work that went into this picture?
There was one shot.
I know which one.
The woman is on top of the dish, and she starts to go to the edge, and the camera swoops over, and suddenly you see the ground underneath her.
It's fabulous.
10 seconds of pure cinema. It was a great shot.
I like that. Good. I'm glad we see it the same way.
Okay.
And again, I really got to compliment this guy, David, too. He's a writer. He's got a brain. And obviously, he has an eye as a director.
Okay, coming up, you may have already heard of this one. We're going to review Mission Impossible next.
shape it with fire, muscle, and sweat. Polish it to razor-sharp perfection. What you end up with is a Marine. Maybe you can be one of us, the few, the proud, the Marines.
Start your engines. The 1996 Arthritis Foundation Mini Grand Prix roars into Providence Sunday, August 18th. Imagine dozens of mini Indy-styled cars racing through Kennedy Plaza. We're looking for organizations and individuals to sponsor and race cars. Many trophies will be awarded and bragging rights will be up for grabs. Entries are limited, so get involved today. For more information, call the Arthritis Foundation at 434-5792.
Good morning, Mr. Phelps. This is your mission should you choose to accept it. Should you or any member of your IM force be caught or killed, the Secretary will disavow all knowledge of your actions. Ethan Hunt will be your point man, as usual.
Tom Cruise leads a team of spies in Mission Impossible, a solid adaptation of the 60s TV show thanks to Brian De Palma's creepy and exciting direction and the absolute conviction of Tom Cruise himself in the lead role. And it is the standard Tom Cruise role. Just like in Top Gun, Cocktail, and Days of Thunder, Cruise plays a gutsy guy with a stubborn streak that more than matches his technical expertise.
We're being ambushed, Ethan. Abort, that's an order.
Negative. Galitzin is on the move.
No, damn it, no! I said abort!
Cruise's assignment is to recover government files listing all of its secret agents worldwide. But in tracking this information, Cruise stumbles into a nest of double dealers, and his integrity is questioned too by his own boss, played by Henry Czerny.
Let's see if you can follow me around the room. The drunk Russians on the embankment at 7, 8 o'clock. The couple waltzing around me at the embassy at 9 and 11. The waiter standing behind Hannah at the top of the stairs. Bow tie, 12 o'clock. The other IMF team. You're worried about me. Why?
Suddenly, Cruise is on the run from his own colleagues, and that leads him to form a new team of operatives that has a most unusual target.
IMF mainframe.
Where exactly is it?
In Langley.
In Langley? The one in Virginia, Langley.
Inside CIA headquarters at Langley.
Yes, there's action in Mission Impossible, a rousing train trip through the channel that links England and France. Now, as exciting as that is, I actually preferred the invasion of CIA headquarters by Cruise to that train ride. The breaking in, inspired by the jewel heist picture Rafifi and later repeated by Jules Dassin in Top Cappy, is a superb, nearly silent action sequence that pulls this whole movie together. But my biggest compliments go to Cruise himself. He believes in his stories to such a degree that his conviction in the material bounces off the screen and carries us along too. Ultimately, he's the reason we care about the very convoluted goings-on in Mission Impossible. I had people, Roger, tell me, I don't know what this movie was about.
Well,
they couldn't figure it out.
You know, I don't think you and I know what it was about, because earlier today we had a long discussion trying to figure out exactly what Cruise is doing and why, and it really doesn't matter because it's all surface. This movie is, in a way, the opposite of The Arrival, which was about ideas. In this movie, you'd be very hard-pressed to extract an idea from it. It's all visuals, it's all situations, it's all adventure and spectacle and special effects and suspense.
But this
and
intensity,
very done and very well done.
I'm just impressed. This is why these actors, and Harrison Ford is another one, the acting of action heroes is so undervalued by critics and by the Motion Picture Academy, but it pays off.
It's hard to do. It's hard to do. The only thing that I question about this movie is, seeing as I did enjoy it,
I did too,
and I'm giving it a thumbs up, I wonder if it might have been better if they had a plot that anyone could understand. Because I defy anyone to come out of this movie and explain to me or to you or to anybody else exactly what everybody was doing and why.
There's a lot of double dealing. think I could take a stab at it.
There's a lot of double dealing, but there's also a lot of fudging.
Okay, when we come back, Leslie Nielsen is loose again in Spy Hard.
Have a nice flight, and I wish you adieu.
Oh, thank you. But I'm quite satisfied with the do I have.
There's a hostage situation on Alcatraz. On June 7th, you refused payment, I launched the gas.
Chemicals beyond anything you can imagine.
Alcatraz is on the rock. You broke out successfully. It's back in business. Welcome to the Rock. From the producers of Top Gun and Crimson Tide. You enjoying this? Sean Connery, Nicolas Cage, Ed Harris.
That's just about the most awful thing I've ever seen.
The Rock, directed by Michael Bay, rated R.
They say that man cannot live on bread alone. Fortunately, at Discover Card, we couldn't agree more. That's why we offer the Cashback Bonus Award. Each year, you'll receive money back based on your annual level of purchases. The more you use your card, the more you'll get back. And with over $500 million given out already, you're sure to get your fill. It pays to Discover, the card that pays you back. Use it where you see the Novus sign.
Our next movie is Spy Hard, starring Leslie Nielsen, who is maybe one of the few actors in movie history to define an entire genre all by himself. Anytime you think of a satirical movie spoof, you think of Nielsen, who is brilliant at keeping a straight face and remaining completely clueless in the midst of chaos. His movies depend, however, on the inventiveness of his writers and directors, and Spy Hard is not one of the better examples. Here's Nielsen in the opening sequence as a James Bond-style secret agent whose Mission Impossible tape blows up a helicopter while it's self-destructing. Nielsen works for spy agency chief Charles Durning, who is concerned about a new threat of world domination from a criminal mastermind played by Andy Griffith.
All Steele did was blow off a couple of arms. That's no biggie, no big thing. Now I got plenty of arms. Big arms. Pretty arms.
And you get a lot of gadget demonstrations, just like in the Bond pictures, but somehow the movie seems to be pushing itself a little too hard here.
Well, this looks like a clever contraption. A mini mobile crime lab?
It's a briefcase.
I know. What does it do?
It holds important papers, files, pens, and a calculator.
I understand, but these numbers here, in a certain sequence, the briefcase is timed to explode. Huh?
No, it's a lock, so people other than myself can't open my briefcase.
Spy Hard is not one of the better Leslie Nielsen farces, and it runs out of material well before it ends, even though it's quite a short movie. Too bad, since a lot of recent movies could have provided inspiration. Just for example, how about the needle to the heart in Pulp Fiction? What could Nielsen have done with that?
You know, Roger, I don't normally read other reviews, but I stumbled on a review of this picture by Owen Gleiberman in Entertainment Weekly, and he nailed it exactly. And that is that there is no attitude toward the imitations that they're doing. They don't have, in other words, all they're doing is saying, okay, we'll imitate a scene from another current movie.
Yeah.
We'll do the dance sequence, but all they do is do it. And there's no attitude to it. In the Zucker, Abrahams, and Zucker pictures that Nielsen became a star.
They're making fun of the stuff.
And they're piling it on. And they're having something in the foreground and something in the background. They're having two parodies at once. They're challenging you. Here, there's nothing.
No, that's a good point, because what they should be doing is showing why the stuff they're kidding is bad.
It's funny. Exactly right.
Is bad.
Exactly
It's bad if they think it's bad, or at least they can think it's bad.
Or hackneyed.
Yes, right. And they don't do that.
They just present material.
Coming up next, our video pick of the week, a marvelous romantic comedy about finding love at the highest echelons of power.
Different from the other guy.
Hello, Marco.
Madame?
Hello, Marco.
Good afternoon, madame.
Marco. Hello, Marco. Smart Pop. 94% fat-free. Hello, Marco. Marco. 100% carefree. Smart Pop. From Orville Redenbacher.
People routinely travel to places in search of comfort, peace, and quiet. We asked ourselves, why can't such a place be a car? The Maxima from Nissan.
Child abuse doesn't always come with a black and blue eye or a bruise. It could be as simple as, why can't you be more like your brother? Or can't you do anything right? The art of bringing up children isn't putting them down. It takes a big person to not hurt a child. If you hurt your children in any way, it's time to get help.
It's 6 a.m. in New Bedford, and haddock, flounder, and sole are unloaded, on display, and on ice, but not for long.
Whale card, can I get an opening bid?
Place your bid. This is the Whaling City's seafood display auction, where the catch of the day goes to the highest bidder. It's become the city's daily wake-up call, just like Frank Coletta and Art Lake. They've been the wake-up call for Southern New Englanders for years, helping folks begin another day. News Channel 10 Sunrise, like the fish auction in New Bedford. Mornings just wouldn't be the same without it.
Siskel and Ebert's Video Pick of the Week, brought to you by Orville Redenbacher's Gourmet Popping Corn, the best part of the movies.
And now it's time for our Video Pick of the Week, and my selection this week is The American President, Rob Reiner's smart and funny romantic comedy about the President of the United States falling in love. Michael Douglas, one of our most underrated actors, I think, stars as the widower chief executive, a cautious liberal type based in part, of course, on Bill Clinton. But what really recommends this film is the luminous performance by Annette Bening as an environmental lobbyist who catches the president's ear and eye.
Come to think of it, how did you get this number?
How did I get the number? That's a good question. I don't know, probably the FBI.
Oh, the FBI? Sure, because if you want to find someone and you're the president, that's who you'd call.
You know who else is good at that?
CIA?
The American President, a wonderful entertainment, my Video Pick of the Week. Now let's recap the movies we reviewed on this show. We split on Eddie, the basketball comedy starring Whoopi Goldberg. I enjoyed its genial humor, but Roger thought it could have been and should have been much funnier. A split vote on DragonHeart, the fantasy adventure with Dennis Quaid. I liked the dragon more than the story, but Roger bought the whole package. 2 thumbs up for The Arrival, a surprisingly ambitious and thoughtful science fiction adventure with Charlie Sheen encountering alien beings. Credit writer-director David Twohy for a fine piece of work. 2 more thumbs up for Mission Impossible, with Tom Cruise's convincing performance and Brian De Palma's direction carrying us through a very convoluted espionage plot. And finally, 2 thumbs down for Spy Hard, with Leslie Nielsen parroting James Bond movies and a whole lot more. So we are splitting all over the joint, except we like The Arrival.
We like The Arrival and we like Mission Impossible. And that's it for this week. Next week we'll be back with reviews of more new movies, including The Rock, starring Oscar winners Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage as an unlikely team trying to break into Alcatraz. And also The Phantom, starring Billy Zane as the purple-clad comic strip crime fighter. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.
New Extra Strength Gas X Soft Gels. Powerful, fast-acting gas pain relief in an easy-to-swallow pill.
I'm Matt.